Now, this is a video using your reactions via a tweet and also the YouTube comments on my hands-on video. So it's about the Google Pixel, and I think I should address the elephant in the room. I am just worried about the guy who tripped in your 6P comparison. I hope he is all right. Let me assure you guys that no one was harmed in the making of that hands-on video. Hey, it's Joshua Vergara from Android Authority. What's going on, everybody? And we're here to talk about the Google Pixel and the Pixel XL. Now, we are looking forward to getting those devices in our hands and doing our full reviews, but even just right after the announcement of the two phones, you guys had a lot of stuff to say about it. So what I'm doing in this video is using tweets and also comments on my hands-on video so that I can relay back what you guys have been making the discussion about these phones. Now, I'm not going to go through the trouble of actually trying to pronounce anybody's names. You can go ahead and see it just over on the side who tweeted or commented on that particular video. So let's go ahead and get started. And I alluded to it earlier, the big elephant in the room is, of course, the price of these phones. Number one, costly. Number two, should have started with 64 gigabytes. It's definitely a beast, but the price tag may be the biggest obstacle in considering to get one. I actually kind of agree with all of this. The 32 gigabytes might be good for the typical user, especially somebody that doesn't take a lot of pictures and, let's say, videos in 4K, which definitely takes up all of the space in the phone really quickly. But 128 gigabytes is still a really good option to have. Starting it at 64 gigabytes, well, that would have been a nice thing to have, I agree. The Nexus 5 was $350, the Nexus 5X was $380, the Pixel is $650, and I thought Google phones were all about good specs at a good price. It's a shame that it's not that case anymore. Now, there are a lot of people being very vocal about this particular aspect of the Pixels, and we have talked about this on the Android Authority podcast. Joe Hindi in particular kind of put it very succinctly that all of the Nexus users got a little bit too used to having their phones be at a good price. That was the case of the Nexus, and well, the Pixel is very much a different beast at this point. Now, whether or not you agree with that, I can understand it, but I'm also a little bit peeved about the very high price of these phones, so I can see where both sides of the argument are coming from. Pretty nice phones, but definitely too expensive. I would buy two OnePlus 3s instead, and they would be just as fast. So one of the best parts about Android is that you have a lot of choices, but one of the worst parts about it for the Pixel is that you do have a lot of choices. One kidney might not be enough. Just canceled my pre-order, can't justify the damn price. Well, it's great that you pre-ordered it, but shouldn't you have known that the price of the phone was that high when you were actually pre-ordering it? Or maybe you thought about it after a while and you decided to cancel it because, well, maybe you realized the price really is that high. It looks like an older iPhone, and I think the low price points is what made the Nexus phone so cool. I'll wait for sleeker hardware in the future that may justify the price point. Now, to go back to a point that I made earlier, it might be better to think of the Pixel line as a completely different beast rather than actually connecting it to the Nexus line. Just because it's coming from Google doesn't mean that Pixel and Nexus are at all the same thing. Galaxy S7 and S7 Edge over the Google Pixel and Pixel XL because water resistance, micro SD card support, and in addition, I wish they'd gone with dual front-facing speakers. Now, having a micro SD card, I can kind of agree with that, especially if with a 32 gigabyte model, it would have been nice to have some extra storage. But at least you get the unlimited storage in Google Photos, so you can have everything in the cloud and you can save some device storage that way. Here comes another iPhone one. I don't see, I'll put the word "see" there, anything special. I just want this phone to be snappy just like the iPhone. Software and hardware are made by Google, it has to be faster. And for now, I'm going to say that when I was at the Google event, it did seem like the Pixel phones were really snappy. They were definitely polished, and because Google makes Android Nougat and there's the 7.1 version that's in it, well, yeah, it did seem like it was streamlined and definitely as smooth as you would want it to be. They are awesome. I wasn't happy to see the chin at first, but I'm over it now. The chin is kind of big. After all, if this is indeed an HTC designed device, maybe this doesn't come as much of a surprise. But then again, you also have a very powerful, what should be a very powerful microphone in there, so it can always be picking up your voice and accurately do speech to text. So I guess I can see where this is coming from, but I also understand why there might be a lot of chin there. And just for the sake of a little bit of fun there, Jaime Rivera actually said, "What's up with the chin?" himself too. So this person's not alone in what he's saying about the design of this device. And then one of the big portions here, in Q4, there's a lot of competition and the Pixel devices are missing the right feature to really stand apart. Now, I do agree with this as well. Like I said earlier, there's a lot of devices that are available in the Android space, and the Pixel is kind of trying to nudge itself in there. And I don't know if it really has the staying power to actually do so if Google Assistant will be made available to other devices. I hope that it does, personally, but I also understand that if it's what really makes the Google Pixel stand apart from everything, maybe that's the future you were trying to look for. It's an iPhone, hashtag, made by Google, only with the home button placed on the back. I hadn't really thought of it that way, but if you take a look at the back of that device, it's kind of funny that you make that connection. No OIS, no IP rating, no wireless charging, no SD card, no dual camera, no stereo speakers, no physical button. Google obviously wants to make sure that the focus of the Google Pixel and the Pixel XL are the Google Assistant and also the camera, which they did a good job with in the Nexus 6P. So there are a couple of trade-offs here, and yeah, a lot of people out there want these particular features to be in the phone, but then again, you have other phones if you really do want those too. Now, even though a lot of the criticism might be coming through these tweets, take a look at this comment right here. Am I the only one who is excited for the phone? No, not at all. We're super excited. I'm super excited to get my hands on a Pixel XL and to review it. I actually think that Google Assistant is pretty cool, actually. So there's a lot to like about the phone. I'm going to put the camera through its paces, and no, you're not the only one that's excited. I think the transition from Nexus to Pixel has changed the very reason people bought these phones earlier on. Never been more excited, but they took away the affordable in their flagships, something we loved about hashtag Nexus. Now, I actually really like this response because it takes into account the fact that Nexus probably had its own identity and thus had its own features and price. So while it isn't completely valid for many users to feel like they are being, let's say, overcharged, or maybe these phones are too expensive for them because they're used to previous Nexus phones, it's important to understand that the Pixel line is completely different. I totally get where you're coming from, and I feel your pain, trust me, but it's kind of clear now that we're not going to have Nexus phones for a while, if at all, so, you know, this is what Google has brought us. And to end this video, just a couple of final tweets, some fun ones rather, from a couple of our friends, so quick shout out to you guys. Just pre-ordered an XL. I'm gonna hate returning my Note 7, but at least the Pixel won't explode on me. God forbid the Pixel actually has to get discontinued the way that the Note 7 has. And of course, just making sure that we're all very practical about all this, Lon responds with, "You don't know that just yet." They make me really blue. They speak to my quite black soul. I think I'll remember this day until I'm really silver. Now, the only question I have for that is, what exactly do you mean by really silver? So that should do it for this reactions videos. I just wanted to bring you guys a look into what you guys are saying about the Pixel and Pixel XL and about this change in Google's mentality at large. Now, in the future, we might do more reaction videos like this, so stay tuned to Android Authority for hands-on device videos, and make sure you let us know how you feel about various pieces of news. And if you see a tweet from us asking your opinion, you can always respond to that, and maybe you'll be featured in a video like this as well. Keep it tuned to Android Authority for even more about the Google Pixel and the Pixel XL and future devices, of course, and stick around for that full review if you're still on the fence and have not pre-ordered your device already. Of course, there's a long wait for it still, so keep it tuned here for that and even more, because we are your source for all things Android.